What's going on, everyone? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest behind the bar reviews. Now, this week's chapter of 7 Deadly Sins is, of course, chapter 287, and wow. Wow, do I love this chapter for so many reasons, for so many character reasons. I know everybody's on the Zeldris high train, and I get it, I do. He's not one of my favorite characters, I can admit that, but I still think he's a badass character with great characterization in his own right. But just everything about this chapter seems to be great. I did not find a fault with the chapter. I'm not disappointed by Zeldris' power. I wasn't disappointed by the reactions from the characters while facing it. And just right at the start, the cover page. The cover page was beautiful because a lot of people are fangirling over the whole Gelda and Zeldris love story. We all kind of knew about it for those of you who read the Vampires of Edinburgh and things like that, and we kind of already surmised that that is what Meliodas promised Zeldris to kind of keep him copacetic. And it's confirmed. It's finally 100% confirmed. We all know. We all knew it. Because that would be the only bargaining chip Meliodas would actually have. And it makes sense given the ambiguity of what happened between him and Gelda at the Vampires of Edinburgh. Now, there is only one theory I have heard. One that points to that this is not 100%. At the beginning of this chapter, we see, once again, the cover page was nice with the winter clothing sort of thing. Really, really nice. I really like that. But this is where he starts out and he says, "This is my true magical power, remember it well," sort of idea. Escanor, being a badass, is always like, well, let's hope it doesn't goddamn well disappoint. I'm waiting for a good fight. Like, let's do this. Everyone else is just kind of like, struggle all you want, sort of idea. This is where Zeldris is going through his mind, everything that Meliodas told him, which was, Gelda is alive. When I become the Demon King after absorbing the 10 Commandments, I will fulfill my promise to you. And he, I guess, told him in this line, or at some point, he told him that when 12 years ago when the seal was broken, and this, to me, once again, it sounds like a caring older brother, but at the same time, once again, there are many ways you can look at this. But suffice it to say, what is confirmed in this chapter is that Meliodas did reseal Gelda. That is what we get from this. He says to Zeldris, like, 12 years ago, this is what happened when she found out that you were no longer here and all this stuff and about the coffin, I'm assuming, and things like that. It was kind of like, okay, I wish for death. And that was, we already know this information. And Meliodas said, instead, I resealed her. And she basically lays in wait for you. And it's said in a nice way in this translation, but at the end of the day, it's like, waiting for the right time. You know, no. You're waiting to use this as a bargaining chip in case you couldn't figure out another way until you ran out of options. I like to think of Meliodas as actually giving a damn about Zeldris even after all these years. Like, in a true fashion, in the same way that him and Bond have a great friendship even through all the bullshit. I have a feeling that Meliodas still does have a place in his emotional state that's in purgatory, or whatever you want to call it. He still has a place of caring for his younger brother. And that, I believe, was the crux as to why he could not get rid of Gelda. And he just thought, you know what? One day, even if I die and even if everyone takes over, I want my brother to at least have some form of happiness. Now, there is, once again, I'm going back to that when I mentioned one theory. One theory is that we just said, okay, 100% confirmed, no problem. No, because there is one theory out there, and I don't prescribe to it. But it was pointed out to me in the Boar's Hat. Once again, I'll put a link in the description below for the Boar's Hat podcast. Great podcast with a great group of people. You know, go check it out. But it was pointed out to me that Meliodas is not always been a good guy multiple times. And in fact, and we all know this, but the fact of the matter is that is his original person. That's something that is not brought up enough, and it was kind of highlighted to me on the last one after talking with some of these people, is that Meliodas at the core is a demon. And not only that, he's one of the most vile, bloodthirsty, powerful demons. For God knows how many millennia or hundreds of years, centuries he did this. It was only Elizabeth's will and their whole thing that changed him. But at his core, this is how he still is. And that's why, once again, the emotion thing is hard for him and all this stuff, and he has to cover it up. And when you think about it that way, not like, okay, he was evil, but now he's a good guy, so it's all good. That he left that in the past, it's like, no, but that was who he was. That's something that cannot be changed. He might have been that way in the past, but that is who he was for thousands of years, as far as we can gather. For any number of years, and that's how he was born, and that's who he was. That defines him at his core. So I reiterate this because the theory stems from that logic. He actually killed Gelda. She ain't sealed. Meliodas slaughtered her, and now is giving his younger brother, his own flesh and blood, so to speak, a kind of a red herring. Now, I don't think that's the case, because I think Meliodas was, at the time, remember, he still did have his emotions there with him. It was kind of a crux thing sort of idea. So I don't believe this, but is it a possibility? Absolutely. I just wanted to point that out before we continue the rest of the chapter, guys, because everyone's sitting back going, all the Zeldris and Gelda fanboys and fangirls are sitting back going, yes, we got confirmation. She's canon. She's in the official story. We already kind of knew that, but still, like, she's been actually said, okay, they are going to be here. They are, this is the promise Meliodas made to Zeldris, and he's going to get her back, and it's going to be great, and, oh, well, it might end in tragedy. We don't know. But suffice it to say, everyone's going nuts. Like, this is confirmation. Gelda's alive. And I'm like, it's confirmation that that's what he promised him. It's actually not confirmation that she's alive. And remember, at the time when he said this to Zeldris, this was demon mode. I don't give a shit. I'm going to become the Demon King, Meliodas. Just saying, it's an entire possibility that he slaughtered her in cold blood. Once again, I don't prescribe to that theory, but is it a possibility? Damn right it is. Now, after all this, we see that he's stating all about his original magical power, and Zeldris is all in the state of, we're going Bonkai with this one. Should have gone Bonkai, we're going Bonkai. That's exactly what's going down here. And the thing is that Rudaciel, God forbid, guys, the translations just keep screwing me up, and I don't know how to pronounce either spelling of this name. So, the leader of the Archangels, so I'm just going to start calling him Ludo, because a lot of people seem to refer to him as Ludaciel rather than Rudaciel. So, I'm just going to go with Ludo. So, Ludo here, in Margaret's body, says, struggle all you want. The goddesses are the one who will win this holy war. Thou art evil, blah, blah, blah. Going on some crazy stigma spiel. And Zeldris says, the Holy War? I don't care about petty shit like that. And here is something I wanted to note. It's one quick panel, but that's where you get the most detail. That's where you find the theories. Cusack. Clearly Cusack, because of the mustache that just won't quit. Cusack going just like that with his mouth, like damn. Like, he doesn't like that Zeldris has talked in that way. That he does not care about the Holy War. Because, as far as we're aware, the Ten Commandments, the Elite Demons, they are supposed to. In another respect, Cusack and Chandler are as bloodthirsty as Ludo is. And they're supposed to hate each other. They're supposed to wish for the other side's genocide. The Demon Clan are supposed to want to win the Holy War. The Holy War is the most important thing to them. Whereas Zeldris has stated in front of not only his enemies, but in front of his advisors, who are top-tier demons, no, I don't care about that. I care. And yet, this was the crux, because everyone said like Meliodas is doing all this stuff, but Zeldris was always like the perfect embodiment of what the next heir to the demon throne should be. He cared about this, he cared about that, he was a proper demon. Now we're getting a little insight that he boldly states that. I think that's significant. I don't know why, but something about that panel would not be there, specifically Cusack, kind of would not have been there. Would not have. What do you guys think of it? I'm not saying anything's going to come of it necessarily, but I think it's still significant, and it might be one of the things that just tip the balance of scale. This might be one of those things when Zeldris gets desperate and Geld is released, and it turns out it's between winning the Holy War or saving the Demon King or whatever, and saving his vampire woman. He's going to choose the vampire woman, and Cusack's possibly been given orders, if my youngest son ever strays, in the back. Could be a possibility, just pointing it out there. It'd be exciting, but I don't wish for it, but there's got to be some reason it was specifically Cusack, all I'm saying. Now, this has been going on a long time already. Onimus Nebula, or Onimus, whatever. There's a couple of translations, I believe. I read in the spoilers that it was called something different, like Darkness Nebula or Black Nebula. This one is called Ominous Nebula. Now, once again, Dark Nebula was the English translation in the anime for, and I believe in the manga as well, for Hendrickson's ability, Dark Nebula, when he absorbed the Grey Demon, or the Ash Demon. Now, but this ability is nothing like the others. And at first I went, okay, is it going to do? But no. So far, what it appears to act like is a black hole. He absorbs everyone in, and then just stay out of my way, and bashes them all back in this crazy explosion fire, and everyone's battered against the wall, except for Merlin, because she's just like, infinity, boom, 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 I'm broken. I'm like, teleport, teleport, teleport. And they do remark this. This happens a little later, but I'll just bring it up now. The reason that Merlin is the one that isn't being sucked through, and she's the one actually saving Hendrickson and Gilthunder with her magic and stuff. Chandler and Cusack realized this and said, without the power of affinity, this would not be possible. But because she has such a, and they basically state she's so broken, she's continuously teleporting back, back, back. So the effects of this wind tunnel, this black hole of sucking towards Zeldris, is affecting her. She's just continuously teleporting backwards. So it's going to reach an indecisive stalemate between them. She can't do anything to him, but his ability isn't affecting her necessarily. So there is that little thing to bring up. Also, we see that the damage that they take, like even Ludo is surprised, big crack in the armor, like, what the hell? And this ability is going to take some explanation. Suffice it to say that Ludo tries to pull some shit, thinking, okay, well, if I cannot, if we're constantly being drawn towards you, don't even worry about that. I'm going to strike first. I have seen the pinnacle of your swordsmanship. And Zeldris like smirking, and then all of a sudden, boom. Like, we don't even see what happens. All we see is Ludo or Margaret's body slammed up against a wall. Like, is it blood? Like, I'm getting a little confused just because of the drawing style. I'm convinced that it's blood that is what's going on here. Like, when he first used the ability and blew everybody back, that was blood, and now this is more blood. I'm assuming that. It just kind of looked like it could potentially be like a darkness or something like that, but I don't believe it is, because we clearly see like smash, boom, and the rapier is broke, or at least cracked to the point that it's going like, ding. So yeah, either Zeldris is holding back or this is boosting him. Either way, Ludo's a bitch. 201,000? Who gives a shit? It's Ludo. His pride, he is not Escanor. So his pride, I think, needs a good shit kicking down on that rung ladder. He needs to be taught who's in charge, because it ain't him. And it never was. So you just jump down that ladder a couple of steps, then we'll talk, right? So I'm just happy to see it, because I want this guy to get his ass kicked more. So I'm seriously, in all honesty, I'd rather see Ludo get his ass kicked And Escanor and Merlin fight the three of them, you know, because at least I like them. I want everyone to beat the shit out of Ludo because I hate him. So that's all fine and dandy for me. I like seeing this, like being put in his place sort of idea. And this is where it's hilarious because during this whole black hole summoning thing, everything being drawn towards Zeldris at the center, Escanor's like, oh, I'm being dragged forward. Bam! Into the, you know, he puts his foot in the ground. Huh, I'm still being drawn forward. Bam! You go even further into the ground to the point that he's like at the kneecaps in the ground, and that's literally what's stopping him from going there. Now, at first, it's kind of like, okay, if this has like the power, it's like a wind tunnel or a black hole or something like that, then that shouldn't work because it would just drag up the Earth with it. However, after Ludo like kind of almost loses consciousness there and just starts flying back after taking that huge blow, the second blow from Zeldris here, slams into the back of Escanor, and Escanor's just like, do you mind getting off my back? And it's kind of funny. And he's like, you dare? Like I wanted to be on your guy. Oh, there's no time for this. And Merlin's just kind of like, well, why are they arguing? Like, Jesus. And this is where, of course, they're still arguing. Ludo yells to Merlin, what is Zeldris' ability? Now, this is where it's analyzed, and once again, this needs a little bit of explanation. From what I have gathered, now correct me in the comment section down below if I'm mistaken, but from what I've gathered about this ability, this nebula ability of Zeldris, is, number one, it does work basically like a wind vacuum or a black hole. It draws everything towards him being the peak center. That includes Chandler and Cusack. That is why they, near the beginning of the chapter, they put themselves in the bedrock. Number two, the reason that Chandler and Cusack can imbue themselves into the bedrock and hold themselves there with very little worry, and same with why Escanor has not moved from this state, is that he can only draw forth living things. It's not drawing forth the pebbles on the ground or trying to crush the boulders in around them or anything like that. The ceiling's not collapsing. It's only drawing in living things. So, alright, that's fair. That makes sense. The third thing, though, like this ability has multiple traits, like a stupid amount of traits. And one of the issues is the Demon King's ability that he still has. Because remember, he is currently the hand of the Demon King. He's been granted certain abilities by the Demon King. Now, what this does is that so far, he's using the ability of Ruler, pretty much. It's not stated that he's using Ruler, but it's implied very heavily, especially with the silhouette of the Demon King, that physical abilities, while he's in this state, this is the third trait, he's not affected by physical attacks of any description, or he'll be blown back towards you, sort of idea, blah, blah, blah. Something that might have happened to Ludo. We don't know, but it's implied. Now, the fourth, once again, this is where Merlin says about the Ruler. She doesn't state Ruler, but we see the Demon King silhouette. And it's implied that magical abilities do not affect him either, because Merlin and Ludeciel have been trying multiple times, and it hasn't been working on him. So it's basically an offensive plus defensive. It's an insane ability that's very difficult to overcome. Now, if I got all that right, I'll be impressed. But I think I got that down pat. I think after rereading the chapter a few times now, I've got it. So it's basically OP-ness. It's basically a combination of the Ruler and it's a black hole. That's pretty much what's going on right now. Now, I like the originality of it. I like the fact that it has multiple traits that have been explained very early on, so we're not surprised. I also like the limitation of the living things only being drawn towards it. Do I find it a little lackluster for Zeldris, youngest son of the Demon King? I mean, is it OP? Sure. Is it broken? I don't know if it's broken yet, but is it OP? Is it powerful? Of course. But I was expecting maybe a little more creativity with it. Especially since we were all like super hyped and wondering what could it be, and this feels a little flat, but I still think it's a badass ability. I still think it's powerful and it suits him. So, and it also builds on the fact that we've seen Nebula-styled attacks and powers before from demons. So, okay, cool. Now, this is the best part of the chapter. This right here, from that on, after Merlin's explanation, is the best part of the chapter. And why? Because Escanor is a goddamn boss. That is why. Escanor is a goddamn boss. He's still my favorite character. He's always been my favorite character. Bon a close second. But still, favorite character. Here's why. It's like, Ludo goes up to him and goes, alright, Escanor, lend me your aid. No. Wait, what? I am the most powerful being on earth. My word is the word of the greatest divines, and blah, blah, blah. And Escanor's like, yeah, I really don't give a shit. It's like, who do you think you are? Lion son of pride Escanor. Did you forget? You having short-term memory loss? Like, he is so, I love his arrogance. It is what makes this character great. He doesn't care. He's just like, no, why would I listen to you? Remember what I told you before when you tried to fight me last time. You're beneath me. I don't like you looking down on me. Remember that. So he just like, and that's why he jumped on top of the building in their first confrontation. Like, sorry, I don't like people weaker than me looking down on me. And, I mean, let's just go with that. Let's just go with that. His attitude in this whole chapter is just spot on Escanor. Even Chandler and Cusack are amazed. They're like, it's a wisecrack? What? They are seriously like, Escanor, like, what? They do not comprehend what's going on right now. And that is what, it just makes the chapter, like, it adds a certain amount of levity to it. Like, the situation's still dire, but we're not going into, okay, Escanor's going to start depending on other people and listening to other people. No, of course not. And then, of course, the ability, I mean, Ludo is on Escanor's back, and Escanor's planted into the ground. But Ludo ain't, so starts flying away, and like, you bastard, sort of idea towards Zeldris. He's like, save me, you fool. And he goes, oh, what a shame, you're flying away. Yeah. And that's when Merlin says, Escanor, will you grab her, please? And that's when Escanor's like, oh, Merlin, sure. Grab, no problem. And it's like, wait a minute. And this, I love Ludo, because you knew that that's what, because Escanor has always done what Merlin tells him. Because that's the thing. He goes, I don't take orders from anybody, least of all you. I'm the most powerful being on the planet. I don't give a shit. I'm the most powerful being on the planet, according to him. He does not take orders from anybody. Merlin and the captain, two people. Two people he takes exception to. One, because Meliodas is the captain. Now, it's not stated in this chapter, but we have seen that in the past. Whether it was timid Escanor or not, suffice it to say, I believe if Meliodas asked Escanor to take on an enemy sort of idea, hey, Escanor, do you mind going over there and taking care of that? He'd be like, yes, sir, captain. And he'd just walk away and do it, you know? Like, they might be a ragtag group of misfits, but at the end of the day, he is still the captain. Escanor is still a member of that guard. So it would make sense. And we all know Merlin's special case in this. So, and then he's like, wait a minute. And Ludo even questions it. Like, you'll obey, you just said you won't obey anybody. But Merlin just asked you to do something that was okay. Like, yeah, well, it's just like picking. Yeah, well, Merlin's a different story. So, like, what do you want from me? Like, Merlin can tell me what to do. I didn't say you could. Like, I just love it. I love Escanor. Now, here is something that is going to be very shocking. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm going to assume that this is what happened when Sariel and Tarmiel combined Ocean and Tornado. It's something that a lot of people have assumed that Escanor could not do, which was the Realm of God idea. To me, that might be a possibility. Combining the two powers of the Graces, Sunshine and Flash, and doing something similar. It would not be limited to simply Ocean and Tornado just because it fuses into something very easy to understand. It's probably possible to fuse all 4, 3, any 2. It's probably easy to do this ability. Some people have assumed that Escanor cannot do this. We have never seen evidence that he can't do it. We just haven't seen evidence that he can either. So I'm very intrigued to see if this is what he's going to do. The end of the chapter shows Escanor saying, if you don't have a plan right now, since I just saved your ass, I will throw you. And she's like, well, you need to follow my orders, absolutely. So this will be an interesting combination. Like, this will be an interesting turn of events. Once again, why are Hendrickson and Gilfland here, other than they don't really need to be in any other spot in this? The Gother male Elizabeth situation was oversaturated with characters as it is. We have not jumped to the Dreyfus thing since he went all full size, like Rodrin. I don't know. I don't like they're just there to be there, I guess, as witnesses maybe. Once again, probably like their reasoning for being there is sound, but they've basically been sidelined. They're bystanders at this point. So it will be very interesting to see if that is what they're going to do. Are they going to summon the realm of God? Are they going to combine Flash and Sunshine and try to mess up the nebula that Zeldris has created with his original magical power? Why it would do that, I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I'm super intrigued. I hope you guys are too, because this chapter was just damn metal. This chapter was goddamn metal. It was like, well, this ain't metal. I thought, never mind, this is wood. Whatever. Point is that it is solid. It's great. It was just a wonderful, wonderful chapter. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Like, comment, subscribe below. Always very much appreciated. As always, guys, this has been Griever with your Behind the Bar views for 7 Deadly Sins, the latest chapter. As always, guys, as I always say, drink responsibly. We'll see you back here next time.